in a cycling position, I apologize for not having a bike out, your knee should be about over your pedal when you're at 3 o'clock. If when you're coasting up to a stop sign and you're on your saddle where you normally are, and you look down and go, wow, my knee is over my toe, or my knee is way behind that ball of foot or middle of foot, there's a good chance that we need to adjust your seat to get your body weight over that foot. Because if your body weight is behind that foot, you're not going to get as much power. If your body weight is in front of that foot, then your knee has a lot more stress. So the seat forward, backward really drives the knee position. And the knee should be about over the pedal.
Do you have any go-to recommendations? I'm thinking for like my patients with pelvic floor issues. Do you have any go-to seats that you would normally go to for people who have genital numbness or burning or tingling?
The deeper you get into that problem, the more extreme the saddle gets. People that have numbness, moderate amounts, regular amounts of numbness, discomfort, achy, I really like some of the specialized in the Trek saddles. Flat is really critical. Almost always a cutout. There's some pretty nice research now that says cutouts will decrease the pressure. It makes sense. Depending upon how low the angle of the torso is. If you tip them far enough forward, you're going to hit the perineal area and you're going to cause more numbness. So bring them up a little more. So specialized or Trek, some of the flat saddles, anything that's got a significant dish to it coming up the back of the saddle, or if you look down, the nose has a dish this way, really goes up into the perineum. Moderately firm as opposed to soft. Soft squishes up into you. Firm tends to sit the bones on top of the saddle. And again, coming back to some of the specialized and or Trek saddles. Then as I get more and more problems, and I go to some of the SMP, Selly SMP saddles, big rails, nothing in the center, looks like a big hammock, or the Adamo. ISM, yeah, the ISM. Looks like they've got no nose at all, and I've had to go there a couple of times. You know, makes partners very happy at home. The challenge with when you eliminate a nose in the front, the bike doesn't handle quite as well on a descent sometimes, and your hands tend to get heavier. So you have to be conscious of some of those challenges. Great question. Angle of the saddle is another big key here. Everyone says, hey, if I've got pressure in the front, then I should tip the nose of the saddle down more. What happens many times is that saddle just becomes a slide and you slide into the nose. So for many people, you need to get it back to horizontal, and I've even had people with numbness that I brought it up slightly. And they slide back to the back of the saddle and all their weight goes off their perineum. And I say slightly, the saddle should be horizontal plus or minus about 2 degrees. Because I'm not going to argue if it's 1 or 2 degrees up if I'm taking pressure off of the soft tissue areas. Pressure should be on the bony parts of the pelvis. Type of saddles we've already talked about. Beautiful. Last thing I need to think about. So we thought about the cleats. We thought about the speed up and down, forward and backward, rotation. Next is the handlebars. I started talking a lot tonight about the handlebars. How do you know the handlebars are in a poor position?
You're in pain.
You're in pain. You know, discomfort is the best indication that you probably need to do something different. Because if you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, I think I heard that as the definition of insanity. If you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. One of my favorite expressions. So you're in discomfort. What that usually looks like is someone that, you know, they've been set up by someone that doesn't understand that they're not a 25-year-old flexible, healthy racer doing grits. And they look like this instead of that. See the difference? That instead of that. Same exact bike position, totally different body position. So handlebars are frequently too low, too long. And the body accommodates to get out there. So frequently I'm looking at bringing handlebars back and up by changing stem lengths, by changing stem angles. Because when it comes down to it, no matter whether you're here or whether you're up here, you should feel light in your hands. You should have a relatively neutral spine, maybe a little flexed, neutral spine with your elbows bent. You should be able to lift off a hand and go, ah, my other one's still light. I'm not driving the bike because I'm so bloody heavy in my hands. I'm relaxing my hand and I'm driving the bike from my pelvis instead of from my neck, my shoulders that just keep doing this. So when it comes down to it, you should feel relaxed in your neck and shoulders, and that's driven out of a handlebars that are appropriate length, a stem that's an appropriate length and an appropriate angle. It's the biggest thing I change that makes the biggest difference, all the way down to sometimes the knees. You bend too far forward, your hips can't accommodate it, boom, there goes the knee. I raise up the handlebars and half an inch, all of a sudden the knee comes in. They're going, what the heck happened? Because you didn't have enough hip mobility, the body changed. So handlebars, you mainly look at the reach, the cockpit reach, and the drop. Generally, handlebars slightly below saddle. Someone who's pretty flexible, pretty healthy. Not healthy, handlebars an inch or even 2 inches above the saddle. Crazy? I got a lot of guys I put in crazy position. That's just because they're healthy enough to do it. And their goal is to be fast, and they've got the health to do it. Okay, I think that's the big picture on the bike. Posture. The top picture doesn't look near as good as the bottom picture. If you're in a tucky butt all the time, you've got a problem. It should be more like a ducky butt. I think I'll cut it there. We're about time. What other questions do you have? Okay. So big picture, yeah. I'll throw out one.
Oh, you're just talking about raising the saddle. I'm thinking that.
Let's talk about raising the handlebars.
Raising the handlebars.
Yeah, to get that comfort.
Aren't you gonna go to that position? You'll lose any flexibility you have to get lower.
So you start at the pedals because the pedals can't move in space. Start at the foundation. Then you say, okay, pedal is here. I need the saddle to be here to get that relay. Then you move out to the handlebars. So you have to go generally in that order. If you move the saddle up and you go, oh, the handlebars are way too low, I need to move the handlebars up. So you have to move in that order. And yes, if I raise the saddle up because the knee asked for it, and the handlebars started too low, I need to even bring them up. Does that answer your question?
No, I guess I was talking about raising the handlebars. You know, if you have that flexibility issue,
yeah,
you want to raise them up, but aren't you going to lock into that position? You'll never get back down. You'll have to keep
if that's all you do, yes. But if you go home and you do some stretching and you start to work on some core stability. But here's the issue. You come in and you're not getting appropriate power and your neck and your back hurt. I'll just go with power. Forget neck and back for a period. I can't tell you the number of people I've gone from here to here and I've increased their speed by 1 mile an hour. Because now their core can work better. Yeah, they're catching a little bit more air, but most of the time what happens is this. Rarely do they actually end up picking up a lot of extra air. Usually they just, the neck, the shoulders, and the back get more comfortable, and they haven't even changed the aero position. But they got a whole lot more power. And then the answer to your question is then they go home and they start to work on their flexibility, and then that allows them to drop down. But this keeps driving pain. And the pain keeps driving them higher and higher. And they're never in their hoods or in their drops. Does that make sense? So you have to work on it off the bike. It's like saying, hey, every time I lift 30-pound dumbbells, my back hurts. So I should just keep lifting them to get stronger. Well, let's go back to 10 pounds to get you strong here, and then 20, and then finally you're doing 30. We've got to accommodate for where you are, change where you're at, and then change the bike in that order. If you try to use the bike as a treatment tool, it'll screw you up. Yeah, good question. Okay, just one more note. We do PT, bike fitting, Menlo down in San Jose, custom orthotics, and personal training. I'm happy to help you out. Questions here tonight after I head out. The organizations that spoke tonight are awesome. I've done some of the rides, know the people. Please pass it around to your friends. Pass it around, tell everyone you were here, Facebook, Twitter. It's an awesome place. So thanks for coming tonight. I applaud you all for being here.